Mr Yoshio Hasunuma of Subaru. My Subaru Outback is egregiously defective. Mr Yoshio Hasunuma, you are the CEO of Subaru. Fix my Subaru. Mr Yoshio Hasunuma, I wrote to you 2 times. The first letter you ignored. The second letter, someone from your office said they could do nothing. I wrote back to you, Mr Yoshio Hasunuma. I said, I don't think you understand. My Subaru Outback, which I had paid cash for, brand new, I have now spent more than the purchase price in repairs. Your office wrote back to me and said, really, there's nothing we can do. I wrote back to you, Mr Yoshio Hasunuma. I said, I don't think you understand. My brand new vehicle, one owner, only I drive it, at 22,000 miles, the AF sensor had to be replaced. At 36,000 miles, the front brake rotors had to be replaced, and the front passenger seat belt no longer retracted, which had to be replaced. At 47,000 miles, the cooling system conditioner recall was performed. At 58,000 miles, the window switch for the driver's window had to be replaced. At 62,000 miles, the valve cover seals on both sides and all radiator hoses had to be replaced. At 69,000 miles, the passenger seat heater switch, front axle CV joint boot, air conditioner and alternator belts had to be replaced. At 70,000 miles, the sway bar had to be replaced. At 71,000 miles, the starter motor and front right axle shaft had to be replaced. Remember, Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, this is a brand new vehicle, driven by me, always carefully, never as advertised off-road, always on roads. At 73,000 miles, the radiator had to be replaced. At 80,000 miles, the front right axle had to be replaced. Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, at 90,000 miles, the condenser O-ring for the air conditioner had to be replaced. At 94,000 miles, the powering steering pump, both front axles, the axle seals and rear rotors had to be replaced, and the transmission fluid and differential leaks were corrected. Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, this was not the end. At 99,000 miles, the rear lenses were removed and resealed to prevent the ongoing problem of water accumulating in them. And then, Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, at 104,000 miles, the cylinder head gaskets were replaced, the timing belt, alternator, air conditioning belts, timing belt tensioner, idles, water pump, upper and lower radiator hoses, thermostat, coolant temperature sensor, oxygen sensors, leaking rear main seal, and spark plugs all had to be replaced. At 109,000 miles, the condenser O-ring for the air conditioner had to be replaced again. Straight after, Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, at 109,000 miles, the throttle position sensor had to be replaced. At 110,000 miles, the wiring harness speed sensors had to be replaced. At 111,000 miles, the NOx sensor had to be replaced. Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, I think you have to agree that my Subaru Outback is an egregiously defective product of yours. So I wrote to you again. And I said, you don't understand, you have to help. You see this file, this thick file, it's all to do with you, Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, and the Subaru Outback. And I said, please, help me. And your representative wrote back and said, well, if you buy a new Subaru, we'll give you $1,000 towards it. Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, in effect, your office was telling me to abandon my vehicle at 120,000 miles on the engine and go and buy a new one or lease a new one. I had now spent more money on it for repairs than purchasing it brand new. So I wrote back to you, Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, and said, no, I'm not abandoning this. Please fix this egregiously defective product. So you said, we'll take it to a dealership. And so, Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, I took it to a dealership. I drove 2 hours to a highly recommended dealership because, as we know, not all Subaru dealerships are good. And the one in my town was definitely not one would take one Subaru to. And so I drove it 2 hours. And your representative from your office said, I'll be in touch with the dealership. Let me know the details, which I did, Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma. I let the dealership know, and I let your representative from your office know exactly what was going on. And what happened? Your representative completely ignored me and did not assist at all. And $4,000 later in repairs, when everything had been fixed, the car was still defective. And why, Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma? It's because the Subaru dealership called your Subaru technical line, the experts, and said to them, what do we do? And your technical expert said, replace the throttle positioning sensor. Oh, Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, this didn't work. The dealership said, we've already done that. Oh, said the Subaru technical line. Well then, perhaps you better remove all the grounds and clean and sand the connections. Maybe that will work. Guessing. A second guess. And for another nearly $1,000. That's what the dealership did. All the while, with me contacting your office, Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, saying, where are you? Where's your representative? Why aren't you helping me with this? And when that work failed to do it, your Subaru technical line said, well, if that doesn't work, then replace the engine computer module. And if that doesn't work, replace the transmission computer module. 2 more guesses. Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, at this stage, your guesses by your Subaru technical line had cost me over $4,000, and the defects were still not correct. We're now at a situation, Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, I can't drive that vehicle in any safety when I go anywhere. Do you know how dangerous it is? I'm going to hold you personally liable if something happens when I am forced in at any situation to pull over, even if I'm on a highway and there's no side lane, because of severe shift shock and all the other problems. Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma, my Subaru Outback needs to be fixed by Subaru Incorporated. You know all about my vehicle. You have all the correspondence that I've sent you. I want you to fix my egregiously defective Subaru Outback. I'm hoping to hear from you very soon, Mr. Yoshio Hasunuma.